Thank you. Any adjustments to the agenda?
No.
That's a first.
Okay, take a moment to read through the minutes from the previous meeting and to make I'd entertain a motion to accept when applicable.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented to us.
Second.
Moving and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, any public comment at this time? Yes, Karen.
Has the student handbook, specifically the dress code policy regarding hats, changed here at the high school?
I don't know, I mean, I don't think we've changed anything recently that I can recall, do you?
Oh, yeah,
No.
Are the students not allowed to bring them to school at all anymore?
No, they're just supposed to keep them away because we're having about 15 students a day. We ask, could you please put your hat away, turn around the corner, put the hat back on. So what we've asked them to do is put your hat away either in your locker, your backpack, tuck it inside your jacket, just as long as we don't see it, won't be an issue.
Okay, how is it that you, I've talked to some parents and some kids about, the hat policy, cause I know it's a, it's a thing, an ongoing thing. So how is it that you set up a meeting? I know it has to go, the kids or parents or whoever have to go before the policy committee. So how is it that you set up a meeting to do that in regards to trying to get a policy changed with suggestions?
Change to, I mean, for us, it's just come to the policy meetings at 4:30 and
Just
Second
had a,
meeting of the month.
just had a policy meeting
Yeah,
today,
so
right?
It'd be
as
2
of
weeks.
Yeah, it'd be 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay, at 4:30?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
We
Any-
don't do policy meeting every
No,
time, it would be.
No, every 2 weeks.
Oh,
I mean, I'm
oh,
sorry,
2 weeks.
two,
That's right.
not next meeting, but the week, it'd be 4 weeks.
The
It'd
month.
be
The
4
first
weeks.
Tuesday in
Right.
December.
So you
Yes.
have policy
Not
meeting
first
tonight.
Tuesday.
Because the next one is
Yeah,
the,
first
it's a
Tuesday.
month from
Yes.
today.
right,
Hall of Fame?
the next one is Hall of
Yeah.
Fame,
Hall of
right,
Fame one?
right,
Yep.
right, okay.
Don't confuse me.
Yeah, I know, that was my mistake.
And I would suggest them writing up, I mean, if they have, however they want it written up, what they want is to have it written up,
So
you
we
know,
have a
so
discussion.
that we have a
got something
discussion
to work
about
Right,
how
before they
you
get
know,
there.
Well,
right.
that's what they were talking about, because the kids, like, on Fridays, they can wear their hat, but they have to pay $1. They're not even sure where the dollar's going to, if someone can tell me that, what they're raising money for on Fridays when they pay $1.
Goes to the student council.
Okay, so they've actually talked about, we know it's a thing where it's always been students can't wear hats. Some schools do allow them, some don't. So the kids are hoping there's some sort of compromise in the middle where they could pay 50 cents or $1 a day and pick 2 or 3 charities that this would go to. So it's not just a free thing.
So that would be something that you could write down,
Right.
and present.
Okay.
Any other public comment? Okay, thank you. Principal's report.
Who wants to go first?
Well, you always have pretty colors and then all kinds of stuff there, so.
I don't think everybody's got yours.
Oh, I don't.
I do. I stole
Oh,
it
she's
on
gonna
the
speak
way
so
through.
loudly and stuff, we wouldn't even hear.
Mine's pretty straightforward. Just wanna
Thank you.
congratulate the varsity girls volleyball team, won Class C last Saturday. We got a picture there of winning team.
Oh,
A
you got
nice,
one.
I got one there.
a nice escort from police and fire on the way back into town, and just was a really good game. Had a lot of local support there. Poor Callis fans couldn't be heard practically, so really happy for them. Midterms we got done yesterday and today. Periods 1 and 2 were yesterday. Periods 4 and 5 were today. Period 3 is lunch. Pretty straightforward stuff. November 22nd, I'm off to a conference with Drummond and Woodson. They're rolling out the new dangerous students law, along with updates to bullying, special education, child find, discipline, tutoring and abbreviated days, interim settings for dangerous students, et cetera. Basketball schedule I've included, we got boys and girls, just would remind everybody we get subtle tweaks every once in a while, so I don't think largely it's going to change, but there might be some tweaking here or there as we go.
So first game is
I know.
November.
Yeah, we got about 25 days and then got scrimmages going, so it's that season already. I got Veterans Day Assembly this Friday, starting at noon. Homecoming dance is November 15th. Grades 9 through 12. We've had some questions from other students in junior high looking to go. They've traditionally been 9 through 12, so that's what we're sticking to here. And then already Thanksgiving break the end of the month. So, and then Bill, you can share that other piece too we talked about. Visitor, April.
Help me, I'm lost again.
Oh, the person we invited to come visit
Oh,
us.
oh, I've got that on my report.
Okay, gotcha.
That's so confused me.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Now, I don't mess up often, but when I do, it shows, and Jamie just pointed it out. I photocopied this upside down, and it's fine if you just turn it
No,
over.
you just flip it up
Well,
this way.
that's how I
What I do.
I didn't wanna waste all that colored ink.
It's a flip sheet.
It's a flip sheet, right.
I just included a bunch of professional development that the teachers are taking part of this, school year. It's been very important to us to continue all the work that we're doing at our school. And we're pretty excited about it. A lot of our professional development is funded by the Title I and Title II funds that we receive. So I'm gonna skip the Harvest of Ideas and the EMDI training. You can read that over in your own time, but I wanna share something that I'm really proud of with our guided reading. We have Darlene Bassett who comes and trains our staff on how to do guided reading. We started last year, we're continuing it with it this year. And she believes that our teachers are doing such a great job that she'd like our school to be a hub school so that other teachers can come and observe our teachers doing the guided reading. I have our kindergarten teacher, Katie White. She presented in Augusta over the summer, and she also presented at Harvest of Ideas this, Indigenous People Weekend. It was the Tuesday after that Monday. And so next year, we're hoping that our grade 2 teacher, who is Beth Phelps, will also be presenting and having other teachers go into her classroom, specifically for reading groups and center ideas. Our 5th grade teacher, Billy Romanelli, will be showing others how to use book clubs in his classroom. And our special ed teacher, Alyssa Stevens, will be showing how to use the data that's collected from the guided reading lessons to individualize reading lessons for all students. So that's really exciting for us, I think. The teachers have really taken this and run with it. They had gone to a conference 2 years ago and came back and said, Mandy, we really need to start doing this in our school. So I made contact with Darlene and we set it all up, and it's really working well for us. So it takes a couple years. I'm hoping that next year I can start presenting that our reading scores are going up because of all this guided reading training that we're doing. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's something really exciting, I think. We have great staff at our school. After school programs are gonna be starting this month. Students can attend both academic and enrichment programs. We've done this for years, and I know the school board has always said when I come to them with, what do you want us to continue doing with the title funds? I'm always asked to continue the after-school program, so. And parent conferences, as Dan said, start, we do them the last 2 weeks in November. So. If you flip your paper over, flip it over. I had started last month introducing a staff member. I know you all know Amy Morrison, I was gonna mention that too.
No, sure.
I know you all know Amy Morrison, but I don't know if you all know exactly what she does at our school. It's quite impressive because I was typing this up today and And then I went to see her and I'm like, Amy, I need to cut some things out because you do so much that I'm over a page now. She's been in education for 28 years, 24 years here in Baileyville. She started out in the middle school, and she's taught 2nd grade, 3rd and 4th grade with me as a looping teacher and a co-teacher. Those are great years. She's currently our gifted and talented coordinator as well as the technology teacher. She's on quite a few committees within our school. She's on the leadership team, which helps. The leadership team develops professional development, and we make sure that we talk a lot about the culture of our school, making sure that the staff is happy. So I just wrote down everything that she does, and I actually had the 5th grade teacher come in today, and he was like, you know, Amy taking some of my 5th grade students to work on math has made my whole math class different and more successful. And I said, I'm gonna use that tonight, I'm gonna coach you, because it's really exciting to have somebody motivated. She sees either a student struggling or a student who's excelling, and she takes them, assesses them to see where they're at, and then moves them to a different level. Some students, they can accelerate through a math program or reading, what have you, and they're not quite on the GT program. She'll assess them, see where they're at. She's got one student right now working with her on a budget, going on a vacation because he's incredibly successful in math. But giving them real world kind of activities to do, so he's planning a budget like this trip to go and somewhere, I think it's Kenobi Lake Park he's helping today, so she does some really fun stuff with them. That's focused on learning and the curriculum.
And she's a really nice person.
She's an
And she's
incredible
getting her hair done right now.
There you go. Huh?
She told me today, when you read that tonight, my ears will be burning while I'm getting my hair done. So we're very lucky to have her.
Thank you. Okay, superintendent.
Okay, in front of you, I put out it says September, but it's actually the October report. Secretary, you would make that change. So October 31 marks the close of the 4th month, and you have the expenditure sheets in your expense sheets in your documents that were sent to you. Basically, that's 33 1/3% of the year with 66 2/3% of the year remaining. Again, depending on how bills come in, they could be higher or lower than that, i.e. insurance is paid in a lump sum and some other payments are made lump sum and may have been done already, so you may see a particular account that looks like it's beyond the 33% expended or 66% remaining. Basically, salaries and related expense, dues, insurance, supplies, books, equipment, tuition reimbursement make up the major expenditures. The other account that I wanted to mention I'm watching right now is Hot Lunch. Seems to be running, and I'll be meeting. We are making, John I think brought this up at the last one, quality. Contacted the state, and if we can find 20 cooks who we can bring together, and I've got 12 that I can bring from here, so if I get somebody able to participate, the state will send up one of their chefs. Interestingly enough, meals in the past were always sort of homemade type meals, and then we've gone to this processed food meals, and that transition was done because of cost, basically. Right now they're moving it back to the home-based cooked meals again, and the chefs are going to come up and work with the cooks in the area to show them how they can do that and do it economically less than what they're paying right now.
Just in time for our new cafeteria.
Yeah, so it sort of matches with where we're headed. I'll probably use Princeton to do that, and I'm looking at an early release day, so that I don't have to put additional funds up for additional time for the cooks, but that's what the plan is at this point in time, and thank you, John, for
Do we get
bringing
to
that
taste
up.
test?
So,
Do we get to taste test?
Yeah,
Um,
yes, taste test.
the total budget was $5,357,459, expenditure dates $1,366,945.17 or 25.5%. So we're running on the positive side by about 7.5%. Remaining balance is 4.429,69549. Bond expenditure was 662, hasn't changed a great deal from the last one. Small payments made out of it. And I just made the payment on the elementary roof, the retained payment. It's not leaking, everything's fixed.
It looks great.
And, the whole building, the left, obviously, is the front windows left to be done next summer. And then the front of it will look significantly different too. We'll be doing some more lighting on the inside for classrooms. We've got the office area, I believe, across the front done now. And that's making great improvements. I've got cost figures now for the high school too, which with the rebate will make it a feasible project. And hopefully moving forward with that in the near future. So things are coming together. As far as
Can I mention something for building construction? I forgot to put in my report, the playground is supposed to arrive tomorrow, which is really exciting, except that we're probably not gonna have it put in before the winter comes. Eddie Hansen had, agreed to put it in, but it's mill shutdown time and everybody's working shut down, so. We will be having an open house when they do get it installed, and I'll meet with Eddie at a good time for him to do it. Maybe it'll happen before the snow flies, but
Approximately how long?
Cemented in?
I don't know.
Sorry, approximately how long does he think it'll take to install it?
We really don't know until, I don't know.
They start assembling it?
Yeah, because they've never done that kind of thing before. And I know Craig has an idea of how he wants it done, and, he's been in communication with them, so I don't know how long it's gonna be. But you're right, the cement has to set, and like all kinds of things need to happen, so.
Has to be a certain temperature though for the cement,
Right.
unless you keep heat on it for so long. So is Craig taking the lead on this? Is that what we're doing?
Basically.
We're kind of working on it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is coming.
Yeah.
Then the ESC application materials is in front of you. Please note that I was approved for round 1 of that and asked to go to round 2. I have until, this one says November 11th, the law says November 30th, but I'll use it November 11th. All I'm doing basically is I have to have the interlocal agreements attached to some additional information for them. I'm using the original interlocal agreements that you've already agreed to because those meet the standards of ESC. As you read through the other stuff that I also put with it, the advantages for us are financial advantages. It doesn't change operational procedure. It doesn't change anything. The combined AOS board, because the ESC/AOS board, I'll leave operating as AOS 90 as the operational account, in other words, doing business as DBA, with the ESC name with it. So it doesn't change really anything except increases incomes for specifically administrative services. Covers my salary based on the average salary in the state, including insurance and all other costs. It includes paying for our accounting software on an annual basis, which is fairly expensive. And AOS pays those fees now, so it will reduce AOS costs. AOS costs actually are divided out among all of the districts, so it will reduce the cost of each of the participating units for the AOS. The bottom line is same thing I did with the taking on the accounting for Lee Academy money went from the AOS. AOS reduced fees to all of the participating units. So that's where we're headed with that, and we'll see where we end up in the end. Next thing is Commissioner Macon. She sent out a note, and I shared it with Dan, saying that she'd like to visit some of the schools and would love to be invited to some of the schools. Dan penned a nice letter to Commissioner Macon inviting her to visit us in Woodland and tour our schools and see what we're doing and have some conversations with staff and students. Unfortunately, she just broke her leg and is wheeling herself around a bit on a machine or a ramp and is unable, but she's going to be here in the spring. April, I believe, is
April 3rd.
April 3rd is the date. And I think it's real close to a board meeting, so I may invite her to the board meeting that night too. I think they coincide pretty close. MSMA conference, Jamie and I, we're both there along with some other board members, and I've got a couple things I wanted to share. I don't think Jamie made these particular ones, so. I picked out the ones that might be of most interest to you. Just to give you some reading material, or actually fire material. This is advanced bargaining, part one I'll distribute in a minute, but this is part two, because you know that this next year, we're gonna be mandated to pay $35,000, then $37,500, and then $40,000. And during those 3 years, the state is going to make up the difference. There's some questions that are still out there as to, okay, so this next year's 35, and they're gonna make up the difference from whatever our base salaries for those people below 35 to bring them to 35. They'll send us a check for that difference. So then when it goes to $37.50, is it going to be the difference from where we are? Or is it gonna be the difference from $37.50 from the 35 that you were supposed to be required to meet the year previous? My gut says it's a 35. Otherwise, the state would rather commit $2,500 rather than $5,000, because it could be, or more, it could be even more than that. So, we're gonna watch that. There hasn't been a ruling as to how that's going to work. It wasn't part of the discussion. So, what basically this lays out, you may know Campbell. He's done a lot of negotiations across the state, and I've known Campbell personally for a number of years. He's laid out at the end of this some possibilities as ways to provide that base salary going forward. It may take a couple of years to get to it, but he's laid out some contract numbers to look at. We've got a few years to worry about it at this point, because our contract is good until 21. But I'm sure we'll be hearing something about it in between. I also did the legal thing, and I'll share some of these. These are those bills. A lot of them we've already talked about. Has to do with the sunscreen use, food use, to feed the pigs, so to speak. Mandated time for school counselors and school social workers. The food shaming law. We reviewed a couple of school choice and anti-union retaliation board decisions. It then goes on to the e-cigarette ban, the additional leeway for making up missed school days, and looking at that, you can come up with a plan that has to be approved by the commissioner. Inclusion of mental health instruction and health education, and that went into place in September. Native American mascots in schools are now banned, and it affected a couple of schools across the state. One I was associated with in Thomas. Immunization requirements, and we were just having a discussion about that in the policy. Inclusion on consent in health education, the repeal of the proficiency-based diploma standards, the updates in truancy, and now include students between the ages of 5 and 7, because required used to be just 7 for enrollment, now it's 5, so now truancy also applies to them. The salary issue, the hazing law was expanded. Even if you are a willing participant, but you're hazed, it's still against the law. And then there were some amendments to some educational issues. And then the new requirement for school buses, which is a crossing arm, which is 70 inches, and no longer than the width of the bus. Opt out for federal programs. We'll be dealing with that. What I found out in between, I thought we had to have a public hearing. All I need to do is put a public hearing on prior to the board meeting, have the discussion about it, and then vote one way or another to do or not to do it. And then new procedure, and Dan was just talking about going through Drummond Woodsman addressing dangerous classroom behavior. Some general employment changes. And those include the use of social security numbers in application processes, salary history inquiry. Was a question you can't ask anymore. Was your salary higher than this? Changes in Human Rights Act, express protections for pregnant workers. Earned leave provision doesn't affect us. Changes in teacher probationary period, which goes into effect 2021. Teachers hired this year are on a 3-year probationary period. Teachers hired next year will be on a 2-year probationary period. So we're going back to the 2-year point. Effectiveness ratings and grievances over such ratings. And then changes in education evaluation, which goes into effect in 2021, even though we keep hearing cries about other things. And then the wage payment option is having a person who only works 175 actually be paid on a 12-month basis rather than just on a school year basis if they want that. And then changes in bargaining recognition has no effect on us. Collecting bargaining procedures, it's 120-day notice, has no real effect on us. And then expanded union access. We had to provide to the union under freedom of access information about our employees, their name, their addresses, their phone numbers at work, their personal phone numbers if they chose to give that, and I left that as an option, their personal home addresses as an option. In other words, personal stuff I left as an option. Their school email I had to give, but they also asked for the personal email. I told staff that it was their choice whether they wanted to give out personal information. And they collected that from the MEA. I'm not sure why, but we've had multiple visits from the MEA rep this year, which is unusual. I think he's been here 4 times since school started. And I guess I don't follow that.
He wants to be able to meet the people, is what he's told us.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's,
You always wonder about what's coming behind that.
right.
And then, so that's freedom of access for board meetings, and then the requirement now of board meetings, they have public participation, which we already have, and all my boards actually have that, so it doesn't affect us. Expansion of the FOA training requirement, that's freedom of access. Removal of cap for final compensation retirement, which is kind of interesting, and changes for rehiring retirees. As you know, there was for rehiring people who retired more recent, they could only be rehired for a period of time. And when it started out, it was for a percentage of salary, it wasn't even full salary. All of that's been removed, and now they come back to their full salary. The other thing they removed is at the top, which is going to be a negotiations issue for you, us, me too. In the past, the last 3 years, even when I went out the first time, they only calculated the last 3 years as a earnable compensation for averaging your retirement. And during that period of time, you can only have a maximum of a 10% increase, because prior to that, boards were helping people retire, shall we say, and giving larger increases at the end, which allowed them to retire. And retirement at that point in time was using a pure COLA rather than a part of a COLA like they do today. COLA this last year for retirees was 1%. So that was basically the increase on retirement, but it was only on the first $23,000 that you make. So it really limited a lot of that. So this is starting to loosen some of those restrictions back up again. But by changing that last 3-year average to wide open, you can expect that when you get to negotiations, people at the top are going to be looking for exits. And by increasing that top, you increase your 3-year average, you increase your lifetime earnings under retirement. And I can calculate that for you. It calculates pretty fast. So it's something that we'll see and hear about when we get to negotiations, just be aware. And then there's the law informing educational service centers and the changes for that, and you can read some more about what I just actually gave you. And then dissolving single unit RSUs, bonding authority for educational service centers, which wasn't available before but is now available, which is a positive thing. And then infrastructure improvements, and that has to do with building projects. Professional development consortiums, and then there's a bunch of study work groups after that, starting on page 26. Those are areas that the state is responsible for looking at and coming up with rules to operate. And then finally, the notable measures that were carried over and will be reviewed again in this legislative session. And then, this is part one of the changes in bargaining. And they're not significant, but I think just worth here for those who are gonna be bargaining in the future to keep track of what you might be facing, and there's not real significant impacts. All right, then we all received this little thing. MSMA, MSBA, MSSA has updated their app and their information. So if you go to MSMA, Maine, M-E, and follow the directions, whoops, I just ran out and they're all blank.
We can share.
Yeah, sorry about that. Interesting. So it's MSMA.me, and they have a webpage, and all kinds of people. And lots of information. I have lots of other information if you're interested. I thought that it was really one of the better conferences. Jamie, you weigh in. I think the sessions were.
Well, I was
good.
limited on
You
my.
were limited.
I was limited on attending the sessions that I wanted to, because where I was a delegate, and then I also was actually getting voted in as, representing Washington County. I actually had three classes that I had to miss to attend other things to be able to attend that, and I think that's the way it's gonna be from here on in, where I'm representing now. I'm not gonna be able to attend as many sessions as I normally do. But on that note, we were talking, and Bill, I believe you sat in with me on that. We were talking, I'm not sure, was you in on the when we sat in on,
Delegate?
yeah, the delegate roundtable discussion?
No, I didn't. I was.
You,
tied up
okay,
with
that's right.
another
So
meeting.
one of the things that we had talked about was, and, this come from all the area region 3 members, like,
Yeah, you
I
mentioned
believe
this.
we had, Harrington, Cherryfield, Lee,
You also had, Machias was there.
Machias was there. We had several people there, and what they're looking at into doing, and this has never been done in this here before, is trying to get a couple meetings throughout the year for all the school board members from all the area, and come up with have sort of a roundtable discussion for as many that can make it on stuff that we can do at the state level that might help in one form or another. And a lot of information can be fed back. Now, the first one's gonna be trial and error, but as they go on, I think it'll be a lot easier, and I think it'll be better, because there is limited information being tossed back and forth. What information we pretty much get from the state is what Bill gives us. This way here, we'll actually have more direct contact with them,
Okay.
and maybe get some feedback on that end on a lot of the, educational side functions throughout the state, so.
And the fact that Jamie sits now on that MSBA board, will provide more current information.
Yeah.
Because, serving on those boards, what I found is that, you usually know things weeks before it gets out, so to speak. So there'll be a lot of discussions about things that are
We'll be starting
upcoming
that in
at level.
January. First meeting.
That Jamie will be able to bring back to us that we may have heard at some point in time, but we'll have the information up front. So I'm really pleased that Jamie gets elected and appointed.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing is, just so you know, this me traveling down there, it's at no cost on the school now. The state picks up my daily tab that I have down there now.
I was gonna.
I was unaware of that.
Issue too, wasn't it?
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, we
appreciate that. You're a pal.
MSMA picks up
My
those
buddy.
costs, MSBA.
And they reimburse you fully?
No, I just get mileage.
Mileage, okay.
Yeah, I'll get mileage, and then, where the meetings are between 8 and 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings, they'll have me, where I live here, I'd have to be on the road by 4:35, and in
So,
January,
do they
that's just not
pay
fun.
you
They'll
lodging?
pay for my lodging
good.
the night before, so,
Good.
all that's all covered, so.
Good. I'm glad.
Not that anybody was probably extremely worried about it, but that's, I just wanted, I wasn't aware of that either. I thought it was on my own,
No.
on my own dime going
No,
down
I-
there on that, but they said no.
I hadn't mentioned it, but I knew that. And it's like 50 cents a mile, I think, so.
It's looking to be kinda interesting, to say the least. They have me on the constitutional, committee,
Okay.
so. Not sure where that all is gonna take me right now, but I will be meeting with a lot of the,
That sounds kinda dry.
what?
Sounds kinda dry,
Yeah.
you know, it's.
Yeah, I think
Going through,
I think we're on
Yeah, I mean.
the first year.
Yeah.
That's right.
We'll
They'll
see
start
what
you out
happens.
slow, and
Yeah.
then they'll get you
Yeah,
into
that's a
the.
rookie appointment.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Yeah, that's
any-
a big commitment.
It is.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Goes my fishing.
Anything else, Bill?
Nope, that's it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, number 8, the update on the construction.
Okay, we're trying to fast track. I've got a meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 here, to look at realigning our incoming electrical and technology lines across the front driveway. It's all been laid out, and hopefully we'll have some resolution as to how we're gonna do that exactly and be able to start moving those lines, because the telephone pole is in the way out there where the lines come in underground. And so all of that has to be moved prior to construction. So that's step one, and then getting construction, and we're looking at a fast track. I have a 1 o'clock meeting in Brewer tomorrow with the architect and the contractors. We'll start to look at how we're going to time schedule the beginning stages of the development for the cafeteria kitchen.
So they're breaking down ground this week.
We're not there yet. Just trying to, there was a couple of issues with the contract that I spent some time with architects and attorneys on the phone today, like 2 hours. So we've got those already all straightened out, and tomorrow we'll finish up with the contractors to make sure that we're all on the same page. So that's, we're trying to fast track that and get it going. We've got some outside prices for the beginning of the construction and phasing it in. We'll take care of those and make them concrete tomorrow.
The shell.
The shell, so that there's a maximum price. Right now it's sort of open, and we don't like the openness of it. It's gotta be significantly, and there ought to be actual bid prices with it. So that's where we're at.
So we will be getting updated by the the
Architect,
manager and the architect,
Yep.
once
Go
things
forward.
get rolling.
yeah, you will.
Both of them, or just the you said architect?
Both of them.
Both of them.
We'll have updates on both. It's gonna roll, and once it starts, it'll
Oh,
keep
yeah.
right on going, and it's phased in now, so that we can move through the process. Be
Cold weather
least-
setting in, it's gonna be difficult to do cement though.
No, not really.
They can put a special additive in it.
They use calcium chloride, in the mix.
It's just not the same
They
though.
do it a lot, though.
I know, they do,
Yes.
but it's just,
And it's also gonna affect the entrance.
Yeah, we'll be blocking off, and that's part of the discussion tomorrow, as well as how much blockage we need in front, for them to put the trailer and their equipment in. And, my guess is, and we've counted up spaces out there, and we may lose a good share of that center aisle. I wanna keep if you're looking out from the building, that right-hand side coming in, the left-hand side open, we may lose the other side completely. Traffic for drop-off right now is in front of the gym, and pick-up for students is in front of the gym. They're getting used to going out that front exit. I'm not using the other exit, but I wanna keep the sidewalk on the entrance side by the office open, so that daytime, people are still going through the office and being buzzed in for safety reasons. for obvious reasons. So that's my hope, and I'll know more tomorrow morning at 8:30 when we get done, as to exactly what they need and what we can get by with. So we're ready to go. I have to get building risks taken care of. Made those contacts today. That should be taken care of soon. Fire marshal permit has been done. Town permits are in process, should be done already, but raised a question of cost. It's kind of strange that town school department would pay the town for a building permit. So the town's gonna take care of that for us, town manager.
That makes no sense.
Well,
Doesn't
exactly.
surprise me, though.
Exactly.
No
But I got
No
this,
comment.
I got this
No comment.
commented bill for over $1,000 for the building permit, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. And I went back and town council's gonna deal with it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Number 9, appointment of a volunteer softball coach. Shauna.
Yes, I'd like to recommend Shauna Monk as the volunteer softball coach.
That would be high school.
High school.
Make a motion to accept Shauna Monk as the volunteer softball coach as recommended.
Do we have a second? Moved in second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, unanimous.
And then I have a verbal resignation from Christine Fullerton, custodian.
You're still for
It's-
it.
we blame this on the name. Now, it wasn't working out for Christine, so she's made a verbal resignation for good reason and moving on to something else. Please accept her resignation.
Make a motion to accept Christine Fullerton's resignation as custodian.
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
In your packet, you have the community use facilities policy. We made some updates to it concerning parties and some other things. I would recommend this as for second reading. We put it on the table for first reading. I just need a motion and a second
Motion and a
to
second at this point.
accept it and a vote.
Okay, so this makes it official?
This makes it official, yes.
Make a motion to accept the community use of facilities policy, KF.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
And then JKE, which is the expulsion of students, this is the second reading for that one as well. It follows the same process that I've been training on, follows the process that's in law. It's worth your while to review that. In fact, we could have added policy tonight, but given conditions, at some point in time, we'll be facing one of those here. Need a motion and a second on that one to accept for final.
Make a motion to accept the expulsion of students policy JKE.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Thank you. And the next meeting would be this, no,
19?
19th.
November 19th.
Thank you.
Don't rush it, though.
We
Well-
scheduled the PTA meeting, or the PTO meeting on that Tuesday too,
You
that's
say
the only
December.
reason I know.
Yeah, November.
November.
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
So the next, are we gonna have a, at 5 o'clock, we're gonna have a Hall of Fame meeting?
Hall of Fame.
At 5, yeah. And then the meeting after that in December, we would have the policy
Yeah.
at 4:30.
And that'll be December the 3rd or 4th.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, hey, Ann.
I would just like to compliment the board, it's really nice to see a full board in attendance.
Thank you. All right, anything else
Is there anything
for the
else?
good of the community? Hi, Jerry.
Yes, I'm Jerry Crosby from Baileyville. I've been here 50 years. I went to Woodland High School and take a lot of pride in Woodland High School. I had a lot of hearing problems when I was younger, so I spent a couple extra years there just to make sure I got it all the way through. But one thing we learned respect and pride. And Saturday night, the Woodland girls won the state volleyball championship. At 4:15, I got a call from 2 different sets of parents asking me to get a fire truck out there. I can't understand either way, whether they won or lost, they should have been an escort brought into this town. They put a lot of hours into this sport to bring it back and bring a lot of pride back here. I don't know who's in charge of this. I mean, I watch the paper all the time. You never see the scores of the ball games in there. Very seldom you see it. You see pictures in there, they're always from Callis or Eastport or somewhere else. They don't take care of us. I don't know if it's the athletic director or who it is, but I think they need to start spending some time with our people and not worry about the other people. This is where he's drawing his paycheck. I know there's a lot of happy kids there. We finally seen that fire truck out there waiting for them when they come.
The
And,
police didn't go?
What's that?
The police didn't escort it?
Yeah.
They didn't know
Police,
about it either.
ambulance, and the fire, but the fire wasn't aware of what was going on until they called me. Johnny called me.
When
at
they
what
won
time?
that last game before the state, they should have had a meeting right there and say, hey,
3
let's
o'clock.
set up a welcome home committee, maybe a little luncheon or something for the girls.
They did, there's,
That's just my opinion, and it's my opinion only.
there was John did order, like, pizza and soda and all kinds of stuff here. There was a police escort into town.
Yeah, but I will tell you, the fire trucks, half of them weren't notified until 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I
They were
notified-
they were
I called
notified
him.
by me.
I called Brandon Allen,
Actually.
John,
So,
John McPherson.
actually, cause John actually called me
Okay, I mean, I
first.
know a police escort, I didn't know the fire, I mean, I didn't know that.
We've always done the police, fire, and ambulance every year that they've brought us Eastern Maine Championship gold ball ever since the very
I can
beginning.
tell you one thing, if that'd been Callis, Maine out there, they'd had
It's
that thing
been
lined up clear back to
Quite a few years.
Wesley out there and bring them in.
Thank you,
And I
Jerry.
know the fire department wasn't aware of anything at
No,
all
no,
until
I
John
called-
called me
I
and said,
called
hey,
Brandon.
are you in town? Are you gonna be bringing the fire truck to meet them? I says, I'm not. I have a previous engagement. That's why I wasn't even able to make it up there for the game, or I probably would have been at the game. And I had to give him the number to call John or Brandon to be able to set that up.
Let me say this about that, I'll take care of it. I'll make sure that there's a process in place so that it automatically happens.
yeah,
Thank
because
you, Jerry.
if it was basketball.
Just my opinion.
Yeah,
It
no,
would be a whole different ballgame, let me tell you, and I'm not gonna have anybody sit here and tell me any different,
no,
because that's
you
the
won't,
way,
you won't hear it from me.
that's the way down east is, you know.
No, you won't hear it from me.
And,
And it's not just down east.
right,
You think it's different in Aroostook County?
no,
Okay.
no.
You think it's
No,
different
it's
down
across the state.
in Nokomis?
But we made it happen anyway, and
Good.
Appreciate that,
We
no,
were on top of the hill and I said, Glenn, what is going on? You know, I thought we were being invaded,
and we look forward
then it
to,
hit us, so there are lots of sirens.
we look forward to a repeat next year,
Yes.
and Jerry, I just want you to know that I think that the level of pride with our students, and I've got one sitting here, so I can say this, has really gone up significantly here at the high school in the last 2 years. A lot of positive things have
And
occurred.
like I say, I buy the paper every
I
day.
got a thumbs up, so I think it's good. Would you believe me? All right.
I do have something, somebody actually brought to my attention today, he reads the Pango Daily every day. And to this day, I don't believe there's been a write-up in the Pango Daily yet about the Woodland girls winning this state championship.
We
Channel 5
Sad.
Spawn had a picture of the
Channel 5
Woodland,
little thing
Channel
out.
5 Spawn had a picture of the Woodland girls on there, and that's it. It was just a
that's because-
picture.
That's
Still
because it got
looking for
posted
something
on
Yes,
the
I know.
internet.
Saw that
to be
picture.
honest with you,
No, it
Jerry.
wasn't there
And they
until
picked it
they
up from there.
Probably.
Yeah, it was
Ticket,
on
the
Facebook.
ticket.
You know, I made a
92,
I made a
96.
statement
I was
on
trying to think what it was
Facebook
on.
last year about not having no scores or anything, and I got bombarded by them all. We call them in every night.
Yeah, they do.
You can't tell me every night that Bangor Daily hasn't got enough room to put Woodland score in there. They
That's
got Callis, Eastport, everyone else.
Coach has to call.
And I'm not saying they don't do it, don't get me
They
wrong.
have the game.
Did we lose our representative from Woodland too for the advertiser? Didn't she get done, like
I
as
don't know.
far, because.
We had somebody else
Somebody
here
used to
last.
come to the
They
school,
both
somebody used to come to the school.
Yeah, they all resigned, so we
Oh.
don't have anybody in Baileyville anymore that even writes like our town news and does all that, like Alexander and Cooper and Many Vimps and all
Do they
them.
still do the
We
Woodland
lost
stand?
I
that
don't read the
person
paper
too.
anyway, so
And
it's not
the
worth
Woodland stand and
reading.
the advertiser, do they still do that? They used to
Say
have
that
a,
on TV.
a kid from the
We've
school.
been in
It's
touch
official.
with the advertiser all year long. Michaeline Spencer, does it, her class has been tasked with doing a write-up to the Callis Advertiser.
Okay.
And they submit it periodically.
Do you guys have a school newspaper anymore?
No.
You oughta do that too.
Anyways, that's for another meeting.
Make a motion to,
Adjourn,
Second,
And,
all in favor? Thank you.
talking about permits, we didn't get a permit from the
21.
city to demolish our.
tear it down.
Yeah, he says you're probably the first one that's ever permitted that.
See you, Jerry.
Oh, you had to pay?
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah,
Tear it
Thanks.
down?
yes, we had to clear.
Jerry, thanks for coming in.
They
Like
had
the guys
to go
waking
down.
up here.
I can see having a permit because you want it taken off the tax.
Yeah. No,
You
we had to
tore,
pay.
you tore a building down. That's weird.
Yeah, well, we
Wow.
were replacing it. With
So
bigger
these,
ones.
that's awesome. So these are the schedules
So we
for
pay mileage,
the,
okay, that's why they have his name as a reference.
going on
I
great.
get it, okay.
I know, that's good to have.
yeah, these are awesome.
So the
Yeah.
check's not
Whoever's
made out
idea
to
that
them.
was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they take them themselves and we pay them?
Right across the table.
That's an option that,
Very good.
we have to offer
Very good.
if we can't find.
And that's for 1 month,
I'll probably hit a couple of those.
10 miles, that's it? 20 miles a day? Oh no, 40 miles, 'cause you have to drive back.
Yeah.
Jamie, you wanna turn off the camera?
Wayne's truck, my truck's in being fixed from the,
Service?
getting, yes, well, no, from getting a deer, I got a deer.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
She, yeah, she got a deer already.
That's right, you got your deer already.
Yeah,